show is a paid program.
Hey family, how you doing today? We've got the best of the best in the building with us, Uncle Funky Larry Jones, radio personality, Magic 102.1, 2 to 7 p.m.,
Yes,
right,
sir.
my friend? How did we get in this position, my friend? Uncle Funky Larry Jones. Ooh,
Hey, Cam.
I'm so excited.
I'm happy. I'm excited as well. I
Wow.
told all of the Facebook folk last night before last, we're excited to be here, man. Congratulations on the show, by the way. It's
Thank
a pleasure
you
to be with
so
you.
much.
You do so much great work for the city.
Man, I was reading about you. Cannot be 48 years.
Yes, sir.
Radio. I mean, you just 30. I mean, what is
You're
this?
so sweet.
Maybe I just saw because it says 30 years in the Houston market, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I've had a chance to travel the world, and in 1990, I came back to Houston, and that's where the whole funk movement of the New Jack Swing flavor was coming out.
Right.
And the air name I was using before then in several other markets was Doc Jones, as opposed to Funky Larry Jones. Well, we had Doc Kilgore on at the time, so management said we can't have two doctors in the house. One of y'all got to be a doctor, and the other one's got to be funky.
Yeah,
I said, okay, I'll take it.
Absolutely.
So that's basically how the name came about.
absolutely. And then it's Uncle Funky.
That came from your nephew, Des White, comedian. One night I'm stopping by the old Just Joking Comedy Club, hanging out, just having some laughs with some friends, and Des is on stage. He's like,
Right.
here we got Funky Larry Jones in the building. And I'm dressed, I had my turtleneck on, double-breasted jacket,
Yeah.
slacks. I'm all right. Back there looking like a Memphis deacon. No, back there looking like somebody's uncle. That's who you are, Uncle Funky. And that's where it started.
That's where it started. That's where it started.
Des White.
Man, I learned a few things about you. Drum major at one point.
Man, that was a lifelong dream that came to fruition.
Yeah.
I grew up on the campus of Alabama State University in Montgomery. I mean, literally kindergarten, because it's a teacher school. So they used all of the faculty members' kids to practice on. My kindergarten class was right in the path of the marching band that came by to practice every day. Somewhere along the line, Cam, back in 1950-something, I made up my mind as a baby I was going to grow up and be a drum major for Alabama State. Fast forward, I graduated high school. I did 2 years in high school as a drum major. 1972, I get a chance to go to Montgomery. I make the band, and in 73, I get to audition for drum majors. So from 73 to 75, I was one of a group called the Serious Four drum majors at Bama State, and life lessons learned. Yeah.
Absolutely. Looking at that, I saw played French and baritone horns.
I love the horn section. Started as a trumpet player, and you have a lot of men who are better than you. So Prof said, we can put you someplace or you can play the French horn. Trumpet fingering and French horn are the same, except with the French horn you have to use your left hand. But the notes are the same, the fingerings are the same. So practiced, auditioned, made first chair, then solo French horn and stayed with it. But I love the sound is so rich and pure.
Right.
Yeah,
It
I
is.
love those horns.
It is. It is. And looking at that, we know about the name, we know about the personality, but your voice. Your voice is over so many voiceovers, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
many commercials, so many just different aspects of it. How did you know that this voice of yours, this gift, that's what it is, your gift?
And we do want to thank God for that gift. Cam, I have no earthly idea.
Yeah.
I still don't hear all the time what people hear. After I record, I can judge if I've sold a product or I'm giving the right information. But some of it's training, some of the places I worked, some of the men and women I worked around to help hone it, sharpen it, make sure that your enunciation and pronunciation is always there. Diction was a big deal in the house. So it was just a matter of once I understood that this was my purpose, then all I wanted to do was get better.
Right.
So I would spend hours after my regular shift or on the weekend when I'd finished, I would go in the spare studios or the production room and I'd practice. I'd do nothing but practice, and I'd do nothing but read copy, read copy, read copy. Words I had trouble with, like Mitsubishi. Couldn't say that properly. Missed a lot of money on that because of an advertiser who wanted to buy my show, but I couldn't say the word Mitsubishi. So I practiced.
Right.
I stayed and I practiced, and then I had to read it in cadence. So if it was Joe Blow's Mitsubishi dealership in East St. Louis, there was trouble getting that out. But like with my horn and anything else in life, get back in the woodshed and practice. So
Right.
Mitsubishi, 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 Mitsubishi. So you just keep going until you get it.
Right.
So those were the things I learned. And being around a great bunch of voices. My uncle, God rest, had a beautiful voice. He was a drama instructor at State. Numerous other announcers I had a chance to work with in Little Rock, Memphis, and Tulsa. Just taught some things to me that I still practice today, but that's part of what that sound is.
Absolutely. And talking to you along the way, being a radio personality, I've learned so much from you.
Thank you,
And I
sir.
appreciate you. We are all standing on your shoulders
Well, I
many
appreciate
times
it.
because you're the trailblazer out of a lot of these things and championed through. Let's talk about that start of when you started in radio and now how it's changed. You've seen years of changing and now COVID. I mean,
Yeah, and now COVID.
yeah.
When I started, Cam, we actually played discs. They
Yeah.
were 45s and albums that people always want to call you a disc jockey, and I
Yeah.
get that.
So
but I
vinyl.
haven't touched one of those in 1,000 years. But yeah, 1973, when I started in a small studio in Montgomery, Alabama, they didn't even have, they had none of the luxuries that we have now. The production studio didn't work. I figured how to make it work. They were just, you would write your copy down for a client on a piece of a brown piece of paper bag
Right.
and put it together. There was a recorder in the main studio. You would use an instrumental track, put the machinery together, and on air, read his commercial to cart because they couldn't do the. So there was a lot of thrown in the deep end of the pool,
Right.
sink or swim moments. But we got it. And again, my curiosity and wanting to get better at a thing led me to ask about employment at other radio stations. One station closed. The owner came in and asked me if I could drive. I said, yes, sir, I can drive. He said, what? He said, I've got a station in Little Rock I want you to go to. And I want you there Monday morning. And that started a journey that's over 48 years now. But the progression through the different phases of technology, and a lot of folk have asked, why you? How have you survived? One, I have a thirst for learning. I really want to know. I'm nosy, and I'm curious as how this stuff works. And honestly, I don't have anything else better to do. So I put all my time and energy into keeping up, getting better, even as you say, the COVID and my phone, the new radio,
Right.
The digital aspect. It's just extremely different, but the same. You go to it for all your information. You can go to it for your music or whatever your choice is, or your podcast. The casing is a little different, but to me, it's still a
Right.
radio. Yeah.
Right.
So willing to not hold on to the past so much. A lot of guys, man, I ain't never changing. I'm not doing that. That's not real radio. I said, well, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because you're still communicating.
Right.
You still have an audience of advertisers who would like to buy this for whatever the uniqueness of your program is. I said, so it really doesn't matter what the form is. It's a way to communicate, a way to put people in with goods and services and or the community work, which is my heart. And so I know for a fact my attitude and my openness to change has brought me this far.
Absolutely. I know from just us talking for years and years and years, your passion for community, your passion for the African American community, right? We all have that passion in a lot of ways. And what I mean by that is that you really champion for just a voice, just putting it out there during your time of 2 to 7. You make sure whatever is the news, whatever is informational, that you within those time periods put it out there in such a way that we hear it and we keep hearing it over and over because we need to.
I
Why so?
appreciate. Why? Oh, her name is Rose Helen Martin Jones. That's why. So, my mom grew up in an era in Montgomery where the old vegetable man used to come by to bring fresh
Yeah.
produce to the house. Not that we lived in a food desert at my grandmother's house, but things were limited because of segregation in that part of the South world. So my grandmother passed it on to my mom, and mom passed it on to me. It was just a way of being grateful to give back.
Right.
So the vegetable man would come through. We'd get all we do. Lawrence, go make a sandwich and give it. Oh man, the horse stunk. He stunk. Fresh out of the field. But we had to make a sandwich, put in a little cellophane, and take it out, and a glass of water or lemonade, and take it to the vegetable man as a way of giving back. It taught me in the early days of compassion. So that seed has always been with me, Cam. And then with the various cities I worked, there were numerous opportunities to what we'd say, put your hand in the dirt,
Right.
get in with the people, because I was usually always the new guy. And folk were leery of how sincere I was to a community. But when I would show up on the front line, whether it would be Boys and Girls Club, March of Dimes, UNCF, Aunt Mady and them's little program they
Right.
needed to raise funds for, and I was there.
Yeah.
And it would surprise people. So that essence of giving back pretty much was stamped in my DNA at birth. When I first moved to Houston, and you know my story as a single dad, one of the first things I did with my Sonny and I, we did the food line at the George R. Brown Convention Center. We actually put plates together
Right.
to feed the homeless. So numerous activities, a long line of it just becomes second nature.
Yeah.
And if I couldn't physically get there, at a point, I've been blessed financially where I could add resources to aid into various programs. So it isn't a matter if, it's just when you need me,
Yeah.
I'll be there. But it's everything
Yeah.
to me, everything.
Well, it's one thing about you that I have seen along the way, that when people do ask, especially nonprofits, a lot
Yes,
of nonprofits, they'll ask you to host, they'll ask you for MC, they'll ask you to do work. And you have always said, no matter the time, it could be the day of, the day before, right?
We've made some sacrifices, yes, sir.
Yeah. And I've seen you just, hey, throwing the shirts in the car, you know how you do, you throw your clothes, we always have to do that.
Yeah.
But it's so needed in doing that. And I have seen you really labor, in a sense of helping.
If Funky Larry Jones means anything to anyone that they would come out to be a part of a program, then sure.
Yeah.
We have some of the most beautiful people who listen to us,
Right.
you and I both. And they think, well, you know what, if Cam said we need to do this,
Right.
okay, I've got time, let's go do it.
Right.
So that blessing of influence to a worthwhile cause to move someone who might not have done it
Right.
is a big responsibility to me. So when you ask, and if it's at all possible,
Right.
I'll be there.
Absolutely. I've
I'll
seen
be
it
there.
over and over with you. And looking back, Personality of the Year from Billboard Magazine.
Yeah, it was very
Radio
special.
personality playing music for new artists. Let's talk about new artists. They always say as a radio personality, hey, can you play this? You know?
Yeah, at once upon a time it was that easy.
Right.
You don't even get a chance to, because everything is digital now.
Right.
So,
That's what I want you to talk about.
Yeah, people will send emails to me, and I'll listen and the next thing I'll do is forward it to the people who make that
Right.
decision. Once upon a time, when I ran my own show, I
Right.
made my own decisions, and it was okay to come to me like
Right.
that. As the business grows and
And it's
things
corporate
change,
now.
and it's all corporate. There's
It's
no
all
question
corporate
about
now.
it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you go with the flow.
Right.
But yeah, everything goes to corporate. So if you send me anything, I'll send it to the operations
Right.
manager who will take it. But if it's good, Cam, it's good, and if it's worthy to be played, it will air.
It will.
And I've seen that. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. But I wanted people to know it's now corporate. It's
Oh,
not
please,
like
yeah.
just give it to Funky. He's gonna play it. It's not in the rotation. You can't even play it because it's sent. It's digital.
Did a show once with James Fortune. Ernest Walker was producing that show.
Right.
And I fell in love with whatever song that was from James. And I said, can you get me a copy of the CD? Ernest says, wait right here. Came back about an hour, had a copy of the CD. I played it the next morning. Those days are done.
Right.
Those days are done. But to show you the contrast,
Right.
it used to be that easy if I was out and about. So, yeah, when we did play CDs, I'd come home with 13, 14,
Right.
15.
Absolutely.
Oh, can you?
Yes.
I said,
absolutely.
I'll be honest. I'll listen.
Yes.
But I'll pass. But yeah, that was a thing.
I wanted people to know that it changed a lot. Yeah, you don't do that anymore.
No, sir.
As we're looking along the way, what advice would you give new artists as they are trying to get out here?
Be yourself. Be whatever that sound is. What I'd like to implore on especially on new artists is try to get away from as much sampling as possible. Try to learn something on the keyboard. I am a musician, so
Right.
I can read. Haven't played since 1990, but that doesn't
Right.
it doesn't go away. But I would like for the young men and women who have an interest in this beautiful music that the gods have given us to do your own original.
Right.
Sampling is okay. It had its place, but now we're getting music sampled from samples of samples. I'm like, what is this? So I would tell any new up and coming wanna be great next artist, listen to the voice inside, learn something, and then after your meditation, come back with something that feels good to you. To you. It's probably going to feel good to the rest of us as well. Yeah. But stop sampling.
Yeah.
Do
Absolutely.
your own thing.
I'm glad you said that because you're telling people how to keep their music timeless.
Yes.
Now that you look back on a lot of the timeless, artists, it was their music.
And it's never going to go away.
Right.
Ever. And any house party or any
Right.
slow jam session or any smooth jazz set or any gospel, it's always the original pieces by those artists that we tend to resonate because the music is structured that way. The chords are placed that way. The crescendos are made that way. It was designed to make you feel something. Usually feel pretty good. So that's why the era, and the whole New Jack Swing era, you sampled all of Mr. Brown, and it was masterfully done. I told Teddy Riley, I said, well done. But now, let's do something new. Let's get fresh. Let's get new with this whole thing and bring something different to the table.
Let's do this. Let's look at your video and then we'll go straight to break.
Cool?
H-Town, Texas, Timber. Guys, afternoon personality from Magic 102.1. Every afternoon between 2 and 7 o'clock, they call me Uncle Funky Larry Jones. 30-year veteran in the business in the city of Houston. Today is the 39th annual MLK Parade, and we appreciate your love and support for keeping the dream alive. What I want you to do like this young man's doing today, I want you to start your own business. I want you to get your own, have your own, be your own boss. Leave the system alone and start taking care of us, for us, around the world. Thank you for coming into Houston. We appreciate you. You know, it's a global city, all kind of opportunities. Make sure you get a piece of H-Town while you.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Amazing things for you.
Experience the pinnacle of performance at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $369 a month, or the new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $449 a month, or the new 2021 XT6 Luxury Collection for only $509 a month, all for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
When you shop Ron Carter, Cadillac.com.
Yeah. Oh boy. I'm going old school on his butt.
Let's play a game. I'm a savage.
Come on.
Whoa. Hey, anyway, I let you still attach. Ooh, everybody right, but
I got it.
Ooh.
She got me.
Classy, bougie, ratchet.
Granny's out here having a martini at halftime.
Haters gonna hate.
Space Jam, July 16th. And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, family, thanks so much. We're talking to Uncle Funky Larry Jones. We were just talking about the fact that during your show, I love it, 2 to 7 every day. What I love about it, you speak about and champion for different things that are happening in the community. Voting being one that's happening right now.
Voting, census.
Right.
And my partner on the ride, Ali Sadiq. We share that passion.
Right.
I believe on that piece there was something I said that resonated with you as well. We've got to take care of each other.
We do.
So I am a child of the Montgomery bus boycott. I was 4 or 5 years old, and my job was simply cleaning out the cabs to get ready for the next person to take a ride and make sure there was no paper and all that. I didn't really understand the impact, the economic impact that the bus boycott did, but I did get a sense of this was our neighborhood. This was something we had to take care of. There was a lot of storefronts that I personally swept to keep the look up. You look good. The weeds were pulled, whatever the shrubbery, the grass was cut. So it didn't look like a place where you would be afraid to enter in to buy something. It looked like a regular shop. Just happened to be on that side of town.
Right.
So that instilled a lot of things about me wanting to take care of our own neighborhood. If I had a corner store, it was going to be the cleanest, brightest corner store on the whole block.
Right.
Maybe my infectious attitude would rub off on another business owner. So we talk about that attitude of greatness because we are kings and queens. We come from the original people, and there is a lot of self-esteem we need to rebuild. We don't have to ask for permission anymore because we've been blessed with the resources. We have the wealth now. We have all the zillionaires that look like us in the world that don't have to sow into my vision, but it gives me someone to aspire to.
Right.
If Jordan Michael's businesses that he did got him there, then the Funky Larry Jones show or what I've done in radio or my talk over my voiceover company could launch me into that. But that's something to look forward to. So you have these heroes.
Right.
You have all these beautiful men and women of color who do great things. And then you have folk who don't want to vote, don't want to clean up the storefront, don't want to keep fresh produce in the stores, just kind of get by with mediocre and mediocrity. And that's not how I was raised.
Right.
So the things you get on the show, those nuggets we get a chance to drop, this is not tried and true idealistic stuff. These are beliefs where I've seen work and things we've put into place. There have been some business plans that had to be altered because the person just didn't think far enough in advance, or he didn't remember you may need this reserve because of a COVID, or you're going to have health insurance for this mom because she's a single mom and the babies. You may have to use one of your back rooms as a nursery. So the child can be with the mother while she's on the line working. So those are kind of the forward thought thinking things I love to talk about with Ali or anyone else who's beginning to build a business, and especially in our neighborhood. There's just so much wealth and so many opportunities, I believe. Especially in the older communities around the Houston area, that people of a lighter hue are starting to move back in for whatever reason and take advantage of that. And I don't mind that. I would just rather, if you're going to move back in my neighborhood, I would like to own that house or land you're moving in on. I become the landowner. You're now my tenant. I got no problem with that. So I encourage everyone, not only vote, the census, and as you well stated, the getting the COVID shot. All of this is based on your zip code. So if you shy away from doing that, then the money that was pretty much allocated for you goes somewhere else because I'm not answering it though. I owe money. You don't care if you owe money. They just need to get a head count. You deal with the bill collector when you deal with him. That's not our business. But we need you to fill out these forms. So there is this mistrust, this thing that has made its way through various communities for whatever reason, and we miss out when it comes down to slice up the pie. We're not there. Then we want to complain. Y'all don't want to, and we don't. And well, your job was to vote and or fill out the census. Did you do that? Well, man, I ain't filling out it. Well, bro, you can't have it both ways. Faith without action. All right, so your faith says you would like to improve your neighborhood. You like to reduce your area being a food desert. Your action requires you to fill out a census so the government can say, okay, hey, this area of town is in bad shape. We can put X amount of dollars over here to bring in new contracts, take bids on these stores, or open this, open that.
And it's documented.
Your action to participate. I ain't doing that, man. Well, this is the system we live in. Whether you like it or not, we're here. And unless you're leaving, you got to know. It's time for us to get off this, excuse my mouth, get off this nipple of government stuff, always looking for them to help. Why don't you help you? You make a few dollars a week. Have you put $10 aside? Have you put $100 aside? If you don't trust the bank, did you put it in what I used to have a shoebox? Because my grandmother had a shoebox, right? You know, But it's and with my mom, it started with a nickel. She said, "Babe, a nickel, 2 nickels make a dime, 10 dimes a dollar," and it goes on and on. And you don't miss it. So I'm a huge advocate of savings and then putting whatever that extra money is into a way to grow it. I don't quite understand Bitcoins yet, but I understand that's a thriving piece of currency. I have invested in the stock market and have done all right every now and then, so I have a piece of that in my history. But I believe in letting your money make more money. I've learned that's pretty much how all the zillionaires get to where they are. They not working no more. They allowing their money to make money. So these are self-improvement classes. These are YouTube classes you can take. These are things seminars you hear about all of the gigantic money makers who come to town, all the black gigantic money makers who come to town. Take advantage of that. Go to these seminars and learn, and stop complaining about what you don't have. Get the knowledge that you may not have, but you will gain.
Right.
And right in your home, you may be able to have one of these startup online stores, and it's a lot of stuff you like.
Yeah.
Well, Larry, they're not gonna. Yeah, they do. People like what you like because you like it.
Exactly.
And your tastes are unusual, unique, different from mine, and it's going to catch someone's eye.
It is.
I'm online buying all the time.
We both are.
Okay, so I mean, those are some of the things that interest me about the economic state and thought process of our segments of our community. That I just wish they would. It's my heart's desire that we would just stop all this crying and complaining. And get up and reinvest in ourselves. Begin to build up our own self-esteem. And Mama, thank you, Jesus. You got one pair of jeans. You wash those out that night and you get them ready for the next day.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You got one pair of shoes. You shine those shoes. You got one jacket. You put that jacket on and you look like new money. And you walk in with your head up, back straight, and you got the confidence. You don't have 2 nickels in your pocket. But Cam Newton, I came to your seminar. Cam Hill, I'm sorry. Cam, I came to your seminar because I want to learn.
Right. Right.
I want to take something from you that inspires me to do something I wanted to do. And that's the investment for me. That's what I believe.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. Entertainment business or media business, either one of those, the creative side is always 10%.
Yes.
90% is the business.
Yes.
And we don't get representation or we don't get in a position to be represented on the financial side. We lose out many times on that. Let's talk to people about the business side. We're creative.
Yeah.
We're very creative. We know how to get that done. But as far as the representation, and we saw that in COVID, especially as far as music is concerned, publishing, royalties, people did not have their credits. You know, they were not, in position, and they were losing a lot of things. And we didn't realize, even at the A-list people, $200,000 they were making or more, millions of dollars on one concert. They were still working check to check. We can't fathom that many times, but it was check to check.
We don't like to read, Cam.
Yeah.
We don't like to read, and we don't like to read that contract. There are very few of us. There are very few of the Jay-Z's in the world that not only read the contract, but then wrote his own contract. It's something about the human nature and the thrill of what we do in the entertainment world that somehow numbs down, oh, Lord, I forgot that I'm supposed to get paid. How much? What it's well, I got a lawyer. Okay. But you didn't ask, you didn't see, you didn't read. And you've given up all of your rights. You've given up all of your writings. You've given up a right to publish, to even make a T-shirt with your likeness on it. You no longer have that because you didn't take time to read. And that's one of the most amazing, probably simplest way I can put that.
Right.
If you as an artist will also take time to read, if you don't understand, get a contract lawyer, a business lawyer, entertainment lawyer. There's another investment. But explain this to me.
Right.
So you mean if I do this, I only get that? Oh, no. And it's okay to say no. Because if you're that good, somebody wants you. Or you can go the independent route.
Right.
Get away from that. So I having not read a couple of contracts.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm like, wait a minute. That's not what I said we were going to sign for. All right. You learn. So if now at this elder place I'm in, we can overemphasize. Read your own contract. Learn to read for an understanding and know that you're all right with this, but you're not all right with that. Come back to the table and negotiate. So like I said, if you're that good, or there's a buzz around you, or they sought you, you're actually in command. You're in control of the situation. Just don't get so excited that you lose track of, wait a minute, Uncle Larry said, I better stop and read this. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Please do.
And if you don't understand, get someone.
Find someone that'll help you. And there are
invest in yourself.
Cam, you know as well, there are a lot of men and women in this town who would love to help you just to help you.
Right.
Because there's nothing in it for them to take advantage of you. They've made there.
Right.
But don't be another incident where at the end of the day, like you said during COVID, people are using your money, using your music, using your likeness, and not a dime is in your direct deposit. It's all going to whomever you sign to. So it's important to read.
It's very important to read.
Yeah.
And we see that all the time. The other thing we see as far as a urban community that we have, Black wealth.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. We don't consistently think about the generation, though.
Yeah.
The generational wealth part, right? What are we leaving behind for someone else? Be it if it's not money, knowledge, or whatever, something left behind. Let's talk to people about leaving things or their branding, their legacy, what down the line, what you do today,
right?
Right. If it's what you're wearing, how you're looking, how you present yourself, all of that is still down the line. You may have your children, grandchildren, or anyone after that. So
I can only speak from my family, but there were Black electricians, Black plumbers, Black contractors, Black home builders in the 60s, Black restaurant owners, neighborhood bars, lounges. But, and this is why I have a different take on segregation, but in that environment, Cam, we had the best of the best.
Yes.
And when integration came along, there was a tendency to think that white was always right. And we wanted to leave our brothers and sisters to go over here. The reason? Well, he always late, or he half does a job, or he overcharges for a thing. And I'm thinking, you don't think the white man's going to overcharge you and leave you hanging? So there's been this thing passed down through generations of mistrust to Black-owned businesses. And then again, as I said earlier, there have been some missteps by those of us who've owned our own companies that did not treat our own fairly or brought the best of us out. We cut corners. We cheapen the product. We don't really invest.
Right.
Customer service out of the window.
Oh my God.
Don't.
Yes.
No, please. No, thank you. No, may I help you? No.
Nothing.
Are you all right with the work? Does it look like? So there are a lot of factors, I think, of mistrust when you talk about using a particular business or passing that business on, or you can pass it on, but you come with this baggage. There's all kind of stuff. So how do you get ahead of that? You learn technology. You learn to present your business. Let me rephrase that. You invest in your business to the best of your ability.
Right.
You keep your word. If you say you're going to be there at 1 o'clock, be there at 12:45.
Right.
Look presentable. Your vans are clean. Your work outfit is, you look like you should, in my mind. So that image or stigmatism of how it will go away because, I hired A, B, and C, and the work was impeccable. Oh, by the way, they just happen to be Black. But so we're fighting those generational curses. We're fighting a thing of lack of history.
Yes.
We're fighting, well, I got mine, you'll get yours. Well, what does that mean? Well, you find out on your own. Well, what does that mean? Well, what about this piece of entertainment law? What about this piece of real estate law? What about I want to buy this land and I want to do this, or I want to invest? Well, I'm not going to show you how to do it. You do it yourself. Huh? So, on the other side of the street, I always hear people talk about how the Asian community has looked after the Asian community, or the Hispanic community always looks after the Hispanic and what they have and what we don't have. Well, what we don't have is just what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
We don't, or we haven't had a history of passing it down with all of the ramifications that come with this. And oh, by the way, you don't want your mama's house to go back to the city, pay the property tax.
Oh my God, please.
She left it in your name for a reason. Pay the property tax, pay the school tax. Well, man, I don't want. So it goes into foreclosure. Well, here comes someone of another hue. Well, I got $1,000. I'll pay the tax, and that's theirs. So attitudinally, we and I know we are. And again, I don't like talking in generalizations, but for the sake of this conversation, we should have ongoing weekly programs to you and your child. Bring your baby in. If you own a piece of this, I'm going to leave it to you, but these are the requirements you have to keep. Because if you don't, when I die, I'm going to come back and haunt you till you go get my property back, boy, because I didn't mean to leave that. You know, so these conversations will come up on the show. You were so kind to ask to come in because this is what I believe. This is what I know because I got a glimpse of it in the 50s. I saw it. And this is why so much I love the history of the city. You get a glimpse of it when you go down Lyons Avenue in Fifth Ward. You get a glimpse of it when you go down Emancipation in the heart of Third Ward. You get a snapshot of the way it was. Or you can Google it and see it for yourself. Some of the brightest entertainers came through the city, and we were the talk of the town. Everybody came over to Third Ward to go to the El Dorado Ballroom. Everybody wanted to go. So why can't we do that again? Where's the disconnect? I believe integration was part of that. There was a piece of our soul taken out to where we either stopped trusting or started thinking that white was right, black was whack.
There you go. We'll be right back on the Cam Hill Show.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Amazing things for you.
Experience the pinnacle of performance at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $369 a month, or the new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $449 a month, or the new 2021 XT6 Luxury Collection for only $509 a month, all for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Gulf Freeway just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
When you shop Ron Carter, Cadillac.com.
Yeah. Oh boy. I'm going old school on his butt.
Let's play a game. I'm a savage.
Come on.
Whoa.
Hey, anyway, I let you still attached. Ooh, everybody right.
I got it. Ooh. She got me.
Classy, bougie, ratchet.
Granny's out here having a martini at halftime.
Haters gonna hate.
Space Jam, July 16th. And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey family, we're back here with Uncle fucking Larry Jones. We were just talking a minute ago, and some of your fondest memories of Houston. As a radio personality.
Well, radio personality almost didn't become a radio personality.
Oh, wow. Okay.
1980, I'm driving in from Little Rock,
Uh-huh.
and it was August that year, so Hurricane Allen was in the Gulf. Didn't hit the city, but the winds were in the Gulf. And I don't know anything about hurricanes. I've had tornadoes and snowstorms and all that in my past, but this is my first hurricane. So I'm going south on 45. Everybody in the world is going north, and I can't figure it out. Well, I'm driving into hurricanes. So to shorten that story, I was in a head-on collision at West Park and Westland. They had the old train tracks there, and a young lady couldn't see, and she drove right into my car, head-on. I survived, but that was my first night in Houston. I spent at the Shell gas station at Westland and West Park. Fast forward 1990, some of the biggest concerts and shows I had a chance to MC a lot were at the Astro World, the old Southern Star Amphitheater, having a chance to do some community work. There was a young lady that called the radio station one night, and she talked to Rudy V and was screaming, "My child's missing, my child's missing, my child's missing." Rudy says, well, Larry in the morning show can do that for you more. So fast forward that, we were able to locate the young lady, get her out of the situation she was in, and she's gone on to live a great life. Her mom has stayed in contact all these years. So that was a highlight. I had a birthday party at Club Ambience. Everybody and their grandmama tried to get in that night. Not only was it an epic night, but Robert Ory reminds me every time I see him, I came to your birthday party and towed my car off West Park because he was illegally parked trying to get into the club. So, from the entertainment scale to community service, the fondest probably hasn't happened yet, Cam, because they're all special, all very unique.
Right.
But I'm extremely grateful.
Wow.
To this city. I'm extremely thankful. Every day I wake up and I laugh and people, man, you've been driving the same route, going to work the same way every day. I said, and that's true. I said, but it's all new. It all looks new to me every time I do it. It's like I've never been here before. So the open-minded, open vessel attitude, learn something new, give something back, put a smile on someone else's face who you tune into the show. Hopefully I got a song for you, maybe a little bit of information that you didn't know about, or just my goofy personality will put a smile. I can't believe you said that. Well, that's hilarious, So yeah, Cam, it's been a wonderful ride so far, and I look forward to the future. I'm excited about what's coming next.
Well, I tell you what, you really embody what Martin Luther King said. Life's most persistent and urgent message is, what are you really doing for others?
Yeah.
And you truly, out of 48 years, I'm sure, have done so much, my God, for others. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I appreciate it.
I want to say that as a friend.
Yeah.
And say that publicly, that not only have you done that as that trailblazer and that champion, thanks for consistently staying in there for us, because we've needed it.
Yeah.
We've needed your voice. We've needed you to be the person to open the doors for us and let us know, because many of us are not looking at TV all day and things like that. But you have, over the years, always let us know what's happening, what we should have the knowledge of, and what we need to know, and so we can be our best self.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate
for
that.
everything you've done.
Yes, sir.
Leaving, we're getting ready to leave now. Look into the camera, and what would you like to leave with the viewers?
Believe in something bigger than yourself. I don't know who or what you call your God, but get out of you and get into the spirits around you and let them meditate and elevate your level of consciousness. I want you to think bigger than yourself. Think about the community and the legacy you want to leave for your children and your loved ones. Whatever you do, in the words of the Godfather, James Brown, get up, get into it, and get involved.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. The Cam Hill Show, 12:30 to 1:30 Central Standard Time. See you then. Bye.